There's a floating spider web above my head, but I don't see a spider, and I don't see where it's connected. It's just hanging there.
The spider in which you're looking for is located behind your head against the ceiling.
Don't say that.
Don't say that. It's right over there. I can see it right now.
Don't say that.
Yeah, both of those things are edible.
Oh, that's a big boy. I don't like that.
Hundreds of baby spiders crawling all over your body. If you get a tickle and you feel like a wiggle and the spiders want to make you get naughty.
It's going to be 8 legs of loving.
All over your legs and mouth.
8 legs of loving.
Ain't nothing you want to talk about because you open your mouth and try to say some words. Then they crawl in there and you want to fucking die because you got a bunch of spiders in your mouth.
Hey, everybody. I'm Dane Holland, and are all the voices in my head the same man?
I'm Austin Shazam Pfeiffer. Is this the real life? Is this just anime?
I'm Marcus, the old hermit known as I'm Electric Man.
I'm Austin Tiny Zent, and I feel that bats are necessary.
They are. Without echolocation, no one would be able to hear Nerd It Through the Grapevine, the podcast where 4 best friends gather weekly to talk about our favorite parts of past, present, and future nerd culture. And are we going to have to start this episode off with a spoiler fart?
We might, because, we just can't be amidst this event, this nerd event that is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and not gush a little bit, and we just got to spill our guts.
Yes.
We've got to talk about the first 3 episodes.
Yes.
I think by the time this releases, there will be 4 out, correct?
No. Yeah.
Time
the day of.
Time doesn't work the same in our dimension. Sorry.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
It'll
be day of episode 4.
Okay, cool. Well, we wanted to talk about the first 3 episodes. If you haven't seen those and you don't care about spoilers, whatever. Spoiler fart.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
So, I don't know. I don't know how I want to start this because there's definitely things I really, really like about it.
Oh, yeah.
There's also things I'm not so crazy about, but whoever wants to start is fine with me.
Can I start with my gripe? Is that okay?
Should we start with gripe, or we should start positive?
Let's maybe start positive.
The natural
I do
place,
like the show.
The natural place to
wrong.
go is here's what I don't like.
I think you're right. I think we
So-
should start with a little positivity because it is cool that Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen are back. Yeah. It's so awesome.
And it was cool that his daughter got to be in there and act beside her father. I thought that was cool. She played the spice dealer on that one planet.
I had no idea.
That's Ewan
I
McGregor's
happened
daughter?
to see that in an article yesterday.
That's awesome.
I thought that was really cool.
I think it's very immersive as far as tattooing goes, and that little undercity that they go to in the second episode, and the score accompanying the scenery and the characters, as far as the practical suits and things for aliens, which they're sticking with since I think they started that again with actually the
Rise of
sequel
Skywalker.
trilogy. The Force Awakens. I think that's when they started using practical effects again, which I'm so glad that they've kept
Looks
going
so
through
much
that.
better.
It does. Even if it sometimes looks more fake, it doesn't matter. It's still, you're still there in Star Wars. And I think that's what it's done. It's it's put us back in Star Wars without feeling disconnected from it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what actually made it so hard for Liam Neeson to play Qui-Gon Jinn, was because he did not, he was not a CGI, actor guy. He's a, classically trained actor, not a pretend this is there, act towards it kind of guy. And yeah, you can imagine stuff, but actually interacting with something is not going to give you the same kind of, I don't know, I guess screen appeal as it did when he was messing around with Jar Jar Binks.
One thing I didn't realize that this character was, I should have realized it because it would make sense, but Owen, the interaction Owen and Obi-Wan have in that first episode,
hateful,
is great because it gave Owen more character, depth to me, because we didn't get a whole lot of Owen before other than,
I think it makes perfect sense for him to kind of want them to stay away.
Absolutely.
Want the Jedi to stay away.
Yeah. And he still protected them, though, which I thought was really cool. It's he showed like almost like a form of like mutual respect. Like,
Right.
I know you're going to be here and your job is to protect, but that's all you should do. You should have no interaction.
Well,
Right. Because just by you being here, you're bringing with you all of this madness with the Inquisitors and stuff.
Power draws power.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think, and at the end of the little tussle between Owen and Obi-Wan, well, not tussle, but verbal tussle, I guess you could say. Kerfuffle, thank you. Owen tells him that because Obi-Wan thanks him for protecting him and not giving him away to Reva, and he tells Obi-Wan that like he didn't do it for him, and he's obviously doing it for Luke, but if he gives Obi-Wan away, then I don't know. Does that mean that he thinks that they will track Luke from Obi-Wan? Like pull that information from him? Or that part, I understood the idea behind it, but the specifics behind that moment, I didn't really know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I get the sentiment, but I'm trying to figure out like the exact, like what he meant by it.
My theory, okay, you can take it or leave it, because you know how Force users can feel other Force users. By Obi-Wan being there, he's masking Luke's abilities, because it's fair to assume that even though Luke hasn't shown anything as a child in anything yet, that he has used the Force accidentally for something, just as like almost like a fight or flight response.
Well, that he even said is you just care if he's showing.
Yes. Yeah.
He said so he meant by powers.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we know that they take them when they're really young.
Yeah.
Sure, they should.
But the thing, I agree with Owen, because what he's doing there also is he's protecting them from knowing any damn thing about the kid, because they're going around even killing those that are Force sensitive.
Well, and it's Anakin's son. I mean, good gosh. I mean, maybe they don't know that Anakin is, I don't know. It's enough to know that it's possibly a Force-sensitive child.
Right.
Well, Reva, here's the thing that I'm not quite following here. Apparently Reva and the other Inquisitors are aware that Darth Vader is Anakin Skywalker. Apparently they know this. It is, Anakin's alive. It's one of those things. Like, so if they know this, could they not know that there was a pregnant woman that was attached to Anakin at the same time? Like, how do they not know about the kids?
Their relationship was secret. Like, the only people that knew about it were Obi-Wan and Well, no, Qui-Gon.
I didn't think Obi-Wan knew for a while, did he?
No, he knew. Like, he knew, like, because if you watch the Clone Wars, like, he knows.
Okay.
Well, and the Emperor.
Well, here's the thing: the Inquisition. I mean, they should be knowing secret. These are the exact people that would know state secrets, and maybe even darker than that. So it makes kind of makes sense for Inquisitors to kind of know things that other people don't, I think.
Well, and maybe also like they're like, these kids could be anywhere in the entire galaxy. If we can get Obi-Wan, we can find out where the kids are as well,
right?
Like, because that could be a goal of Vader's also, to find Obi-Wan so he can find where his children are as well.
But does he even know he has children at this point?
Well, I
he
mean,
knew Padme was
right, but did he assume that they died?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question, because I mean the only thing really, well, not the only thing, but one of the main things that drew Vader to the dark side was to save Padme's life. He was wanting to get the teachings from Darth Plagueis, who discovered how to basically extend life using the dark side
and turn your eyes yellow.
Exactly.
Kill some kids, you get yellow eyes.
It's fair to assume that Anakin thinks that his children are dead because Padme died in childbirth.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm sure there's a canon answer. We just don't really know it.
We'll get there.
And complications from childbirth would have been a hell of a lot better ending than a broken heart.
Yeah.
Maybe was it supposed to be context, or were we supposed to contextually
I think you were
know?
just supposed to get that.
Is there any other thing we'd like to mention, like that kind of stood out as like really cool from these first 3 episodes?
Well, Reva, I don't know anything about her in Legends. Do you fellas?
Nope.
I know nothing of Legends. I kept it all.
So I've heard a theory of why she hates and has this drive to get Obi-Wan, because so far they've not said anything, but she has this burning drive inside of her to find him and do whatever. The theory that I heard was she was a survivor of Order 66. Like, she was there trying to defend the younglings, and
she would have been a
was
youngling.
unsuccessful, or would have been a youngling.
That's
what
why
I'm
they show the
thinking.
scene.
Yeah.
They pretty make that obvious, I think, because at the beginning they show the scene, the very first scene of the whole show
Yeah.
is a group of younglings and them surviving.
Truth.
That's why we see the guy in the first episode that's running from the Inquisitors.
Yeah.
Which that scene in the bar was awesome with the Inquisitors explaining like patience is the key to an Inquisitor finding a Jedi.
Yeah.
They're in no hurry. They will find them.
Yeah.
And that was so eerie to me. Like that was, to me, slow villainy is like just way more eerie than just, scary, fast, big.
Ask Jason Voorhees. Ask Michael
Calculating.
Myers.
Yeah. So I think that they did a really good job in that, setting up the Inquisitors as far as like what they're about. Because a lot of people have not watched Rebels, which is where we get the Inquisitors being introduced. So this is their first experience with them. So they needed to have some kind of small moment. It doesn't need to be a lot of exposition. It needs to be actions. But so I think the villains, like as a whole, are set up pretty good. And then we know, we already know the heroes. So and then we get to meet a few on the way.
Yeah.
Which they've introduced new characters that I think have also been great.
Seth Rogen.
In episode 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't even see I put
Just
that
his
together.
voice. Just his
We'll
voice.
get to maybe some of that because I will bring some of that up
He
with
was in
my
there?
dislikes.
Uh-huh.
But any scene that Ewan McGregor's in, he's magnetic. I mean, he's amazing. So that to me has been awesome.
Right.
Pretty much all of his scenes, I'm digging the acting. I'm digging everything.
Yep.
But there are some story things that I'm not that crazy about. But so maybe we can just go ahead and talk about some of the negatives. Because speaking of Seth Rogen, for example, like I don't
Where
know,
was he
there's
at?
something about he was the guy driving the truck in the third episode.
Yeah.
He-
The,
oh, he
the
played-
alien.
charismatic
The
alien.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't
I don't
catch
know.
on to that.
I feel like
Freck.
how many
Yeah,
times
Frick,
do
Frick, something.
aliens, like bizarre looking aliens, speak that good English? You know what I mean?
Or common, or I
right?
think it's
Whatever. Yeah, they just sound very human, right?
Right.
And I just don't know. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know. I think for some of them they work, but then some of the aliens just don't look like to me they should
Yeah,
sound.
you want like more of an accent, kind
or
of thing?
just something, some bizarre, like where we don't even know what they're saying, and like they have subtitles.
I mean, that has happened.
It does,
I mean, like Greedo.
I feel like it's a more common occurrence now that they're pumping all this stuff out, that we get these bizarre looking aliens, but then just like an actor behind the, I don't know. Like I said, sometimes it can work, but I just don't feel like it always does.
Yeah,
That was
well,
just
I mean,
a disconnect for you.
Somewhat, yeah. I
Well-
didn't notice it was Seth Rogen. That's funny.
Speaking of pumping it out, I'd view Kenobi as Mandalorian version 2 because the storyline's the same. You've got badass guy doing a job. Badass guy gets hired to go to
Save
where a
a
child
cute
is.
child,
And
right.
they got to save the child because the child's been kidnapped. Got to return kidnapped child to people. Got to run from villain while trying to find child's people and return child to people. And then let's make it about child and not really about everyone else.
Yeah, well, and not really about Obi-Wan, and like because like
Exactly.
one of the best scenes was obviously the Vader's intro in episode 3 was amazing.
Oh yeah, his murder hobo.
So good.
and then
the same
It was good. That
and
was
then
Vader.
Obi-Wan reliving all these memories and you get all these lines from the prequel trilogy, like
Yeah.
Anakin talking to him in his head, and Qui-Gon.
I kind of blacked out during
I
that.
want more of that. Like I want to see him struggling. I mean, especially if they're going with the route that he's kind of out of touch with the Force a little bit,
Well, yeah, he spent 10 years.
which a lot of people
like,
kind of complain
that.
about, but I'm not so opposed to it.
He spent a long time trying to hide himself
I
and
get
not
that.
use his Force
Like I
abilities.
said, I'm not so
hence
opposed
being
to it.
rusty.
Right. I'm
and
not so.
he has PTSD from his entire group of Jedi
Right,
has
and
been
I'd like to
slaughtered.
explore that more by hearing those old things. I hope they do that more.
Right, yeah,
I hope we hear
because
more of inside his head.
That's what I hear. I hear people complaining about Obi-Wan just being like he's just a weak old man, like he's just, and I'm like, you don't get it. Like, are you even watching what happened?
Right.
Because he has depression from everything that's happened and what happened with him and Anakin. He has PTSD from his entire group
Years of
being
fighting.
slaughtered. Yeah, and like fighting for the government that just turned on him and his people and blamed him and his people for everything that happened. Like he's going through all this stuff, the anxiety, like of what's going on between like with Luke and things like that. Like he is going through so much mental anguish. And a big thing with the Force is trusting the Force. Like Austin and I talked about today earlier off air, like trusting in the Force makes your connection with the Force much stronger.
Now he doubt.
And he doubts a lot of what has happened in the past because, like everything even Qui-Gon taught him led him to this happening with Anakin, and that's why he's trying to get in touch with Qui-Gon as well to try to get some some clarity.
His faith has been hurt.
Oh yeah,
because
everything has.
Being a Jedi, it's a religion. It's what it is, just plain and simple.
Yeah.
So you have to trust in the faith or in the Force to do everything. And like you said, it's been damaged. Yeah. So it's hard to let it work through you when you're not really believing in it fully.
No, this is a really hot take on it, though. And this is just my opinion, so you don't have to agree with me on that. But I feel like if he doesn't step it up a little bit, that Vader's going to kill him.
He will die. Obi-Wan will die. If he doesn't get it together.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh, you don't? You don't think Vader's going to kill Obi-Wan?
Oh, okay. Well, I thought you meant before the series is over.
Yeah, we did. That was a joke.
No, I'm saying that he dies in the movie.
Yeah.
But not in the series.
Spoilers!
Dang.
But we already spoiler farted.
Rarely, in my opinion, when you go and visit a character back in the past from where we know them, does it make them a better character? Rarely. And I don't know. We may not have enough time to really discuss this thought I have in my head.
Let's get into it.
I don't know. Does it cheapen what we see when we first see Darth Vader and Obi-Wan meet in A New Hope?
It all depends on how the series ends.
I guess.
Because we know that Obi-Wan ends up back on Tatooine for a long time watching Luke. Mm-hmm. We don't know what happens between him and Vader getting separated for them to meet again.
And we know,
because he does say, last we met, you were the master,
right?
But now I'm the master, or something like that.
Maybe he has a reawakening of his protection, his drive. Something overpowers his doubt to make sure that he's able to get back in touch with the Force. I'm talking about Obi-Wan here, and that could happen to where he trumps Vader in a way towards the very end.
And they're setting up Qui-Gon.
Yes.
Let's be honest. They're setting up Qui-Gon. So I think when he gets back in touch, like you said, hit through Qui-Gon, maybe you're right. The Jedi Master will return and master the apprentice. I mean, I guess, yeah. Well, I guess. It's not over.
If there's a Force ghost of Qui-Gon that gets spoiled for me on a fucking Twitter post, I'm going to shit in the middle of my front yard waving at traffic as it goes by. They're going to ask me what's wrong, and I'm going to tell you, the internet spoils everything!
I do want to make
especially that.
I want to get a video of that and put it on the internet.
I do want to try to turn. Tiny, you mentioned that it was making it more about the children instead of Obi-Wan. I'd like to almost make that a positive for Obi-Wan's character because it is about like Luke and Leia for him.
I think it's about the wrong kid. I mean, he's there to watch Luke.
Yeah.
Right, but Leia was taken from her family.
I understand.
Right? But Luke and Leia are his redemption for Anakin.
But that's what the writers chose to do.
And
also, I feel with you. I'm not saying it's the wrong kid. Yeah. I just feel like we don't really. It doesn't need to be Leia.
I think it fits canonically, though. It fits canonically because when Obi-Wan meets Luke in Star Wars, Obi-Wan does not exist to Luke Skywalker. Ben Kenobi exists to Luke Skywalker. Right. So he's like, I don't know an Obi-Wan Kenobi. I know old Ben. I think that old Ben Kenobi is out here. I wonder if that's the same guy. Mm-hmm. So he's going to know Ben as just like Ben. He's not going to know Obi-Wan. But when Leia sends that, that message through R2 that starts off the whole shebang of save us, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're our only hope, he knows of Obi-Wan Kenobi the Jedi, to where everybody else at this point just knows Ben.
Right. Yeah, that it does fit canonically that Leia has a relationship with Obi-Wan.
I'm fine with it. I just didn't necessarily want to spend all that much time with a child actor when I've got Ian McGregor and Hayden Christensen, and we could be starting off with those kinds of things.
It's almost like phoning it in because they're like, well, Grogu was very successful. What can we do? Let's add another child.
Young Princess Leia. I mean,
but let's not discredit her, though, because for a little kid...
Oh, yeah, she's a great little actress. Yeah, I mean, not great to discredit what she does.
And there's a lot of that going on. I mean, there's no, whether we like the character or not, it shouldn't fall onto the actor or actress.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I thought the visuals of the show was pretty good. Sorry.
Oh,
I did not mean to.
No, you're fine.
jump over
He said it shouldn't fall on the actor or actress. Then I'm like, well,
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, with all the controversial hate, internet hate and stuff, like, that's not what we're doing. It's that
just disagreeing with decisions.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I can judge the character as written and as acted without having to get into all that.
I think one of the reasons that I am happy getting a lot of Leia is because I watched the Clone Wars. I got a lot of Anakin and Obi-Wan, a lot. And it was amazing, and it got me connected to both those characters. I got to see so many years of their relationship. This is the first, like, young Leia that I'm getting. And I like it because I've seen a whole section of Star Wars, like canon Star Wars, that it kind of, this wasn't as much for me as I haven't got to see Obi-Wan and Anakin have this anything for years. Like I've got to see that. So I think that's one reason why, like, I disagree about the Leia thing, is because I'm coming at it from a different angle of already having so much of them.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with young Leia.
Right.
I just feel like in the show Obi-Wan Kenobi, we didn't need that much of her.
Right.
We could have just been like a little side mission and that's it.
Yeah.
But now, even in episode 3, she was making all the decisions. Like, she was running rampant right over everything he told her. Like, he was like, stay calm, don't talk to anybody. What does she do? Boom, 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 boom. It's like, okay, she's
It's a very Leia move. Like,
yeah, but she's like, she looks like she's 5 years old.
Also,
I think she's 7.
She said she's 10.
Oh, she said she was
The,
10.
the character said she's 10.
yeah, and it's 10
Leia,
years.
This is 10-year-old Leia.
It's 10
but
years later.
But it looks like a 5-year-old Leia.
But
I don't know.
so I think that the
Maybe
problem
we're
with
just getting old.
the problem with Obi-Wan and him just getting ran all over by that little girl is it's just like in The Water Boy when Coach Klein lost his manhood. You know, he's Coach Klein, manhood, you got your manhood. So there's gonna be a Coach Klein, you got your manhood triumphant moment for Obi-Wan.
I hate that you made that analogy. That's terrible.
I will take part of my love of getting to see this little Leia and her doing such a good job, and I will agree with you on a part that we only get 6 episodes of the show, right?
Right.
Yeah.
There is no time to waste at all, and the first 2 episodes were
Filler.
Filler.
Seemed like it.
You got prologue, and then it's
I don't know,
episode
man.
3 is episode 1.
I get
I
one
enjoyed the
setup.
first one. I had chills at the end of it.
Yeah. The second
But
one
yeah,
had parts I really liked, like
Yeah.
the fake Jedi was amazing,
Oh, yeah.
played by Kumail Nanjiani. I forget how to say his last name. He was
awesome.
phenomenal.
Oh, yeah, it was great.
Phenomenal. And you get to see like what's happening out in the universe of these people who love the Jedi still, but aren't Jedis themselves.
And it's just funny seeing Obi-Wan's reaction to that. I mean, it's great.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I did enjoy seeing the clone trooper as the homeless veteran.
Yeah.
I was like, that's kind of accurate to modern society.
Oh, for sure.
And that's what it would be. And I want to say this before we run out of time because I know we're getting kind of close.
Oh, we're good. We'll skip me this week because mine wasn't time sensitive. I don't mind. I like this. This is good.
Vader wreathed in fire looks stupid.
At the end,
Yes, I hated that visually. It was awful. He did not look intimidating. He was just
he did the whole episode to me. I mean, I kind of get what you're saying. Just the shot itself.
yeah. The shot itself was bad. The lighting was awful. It did not
Speaking-
look scary
There's
or
been a
creepy
lot
or
of weird-
nothing.
I think because they're churning this stuff out so fast, we get things like that chase scene in the woods. Just
no, not a branch.
No one looked
Right.
like they were even trying to catch this 5-year-old or 10-year-old or whatever year old Leia.
This 5/10-year-old.
That was bad.
And then we have the parkour force parkour on the rooftops.
That
scene,
still didn't catch the 10-year-old child.
who was jumping across them with ease.
She's very elusive.
Internet, I'd like to make a wish right now. If anybody has the audio from the scene of The Office where everybody's doing parkour and you haven't added that to the third sister on the rooftop, it is now your task.
sure it's
Go,
happened
Internet,
somewhere.
go.
Now, I will say, though, when they had the lightsabers lit up in the dark,
Oh yeah.
Oh,
the
amazing.
glow from it, that was one of the best shots
good.
of lightsabers
So good.
out that I've seen because, as to my remembrance, they've not done it like that before. It was just glowy stick, and
Right.
it didn't really shed a bunch of light like it does in Kenobi, which would be what it does because it is a lightsaber. It is a saber made of light.
Because
and I'm doing
now-
this thing with my hands.
I see it's a choppy, but those were actual light bar blades they had out there. They weren't.
Well, that's just what they use ever since The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens was the first movie to actually use sabers where the glow of the saber itself will be caught by the camera.
Yes.
Like,
Okay, so I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
That's why the reflection is so
because
perfect.
it used
Yeah.
to be they were CGI'd sticks. Like the sticks were
right.
just
And
like
so they didn't
specific
glow
colors.
into the environment.
No.
Right.
Now
Gotcha.
they can literally light the environment, and then once you get to the clashy scenes and stuff like that, there's more effects and stuff added in at that point.
Yeah.
But leave it up to ILM to go to like not only
figures.
to just create a glowy light stick that everybody's like, oh my God, that thing's amazing, to then making one that's in real life that doesn't cut up stuff, but it makes it more realistic that it exists in that world because it actually does. Yeah. I mean, and it seems so minute, but that's the visuals in it. Some of the visuals in Kenobi are absolutely awesome. I mean, I love the fight scene, with Vader and Kenobi, and that whole thing to me that's whenever I'm getting the you're damaged vibe, because it's not only that, because he knows that he can die. He knows that this guy right now at any point in time is going to kill him, but at the same time he's looking at him like, Anakin, dude, what's up? Like, why? I am what you made me. Like, I saw his damage during that point where Anakin's is physical and he's become that. Obi's is mental and more spiritual damage.
Well, he did get physically damaged at the end of the fight.
He hurt his shoulder.
Yeah,
He
did.
got lightly grilled like a hot dog.
He sure
and
did.
he did not even attempt to fight back with the Force. He just let it happen.
Scratch
I'm
that.
like, come on, bro.
He had one fight back, and just because I've watched it twice. The fire goes out, he bounces away backwards. It's because of a force push that he uses to.
Okay, I didn't catch that.
He's on the ground, he's dying, he's suffering, and everything
He's
else.
lightly cooked like a hot dog. He's not that burnt.
Oh, he could have died.
He could have, yes.
If he would have sat there and seared like what Vader wanted, but no, the fire. That the fire goes out, and all of a sudden his body's away. That's what happened.
Well, I mean, I do want to see a little more of what was it, BD-8, the droid,
With
the
the
Logan
hammer?
droid.
Yeah.
Yes,
That
I
design
want
is
to
awesome.
know what they did to reprogram him and what he's programmed to do, because he tricksy, boy.
He had that hammer
He
just
tricksy,
ready
boy.
to go. I
He
want
was
him
ready.
to. I want
wanted him to bust some skulls.
I want him to be the second strongest murder hobo in this freaking show next to Darth Vader.
Yes.
Because Vader just be walking down the street like, you're in a window. Like,
The and in a lot of shows and movies, the suit up scene is lame as hell, but this one with Vader was excellent.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
getting to see the machines that put his suit together, like each individual like limb, and then his helmet at the end, and him. It was just we are getting our like Vader and Obi-Wan screen time is just chef's kiss.
And they've nailed Vader big time.
Oh yeah,
And it's almost I guess that's why I said that I feel like episode 3 should have been almost where the series started. It should have almost been episode 1, because I haven't been all that great with the villains, like with the Inquisitors. Like, I don't know, they just don't seem all that intimidating to me. But then as soon as Vader steps on it, he's this intimidating presence. He's he's breaking necks with just the Force,
because
Oh, yeah.
you're
And
showed
so
what the.
I just feel like it needed that presence. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, I was agreeing with you though. Like you're shown like what the Inquisitors have to do and what they can do with the Force. And they've got like they're like sprawling people out, like holding them in spots, like holding them still, and like here's a little choke here and there. But then you get Vader who comes on the scene, and he is no holds barred, straight up slobber knocker up in there. He's pulling people out of windows.
Right.
He's snapping this little boy's neck because he's crying for his father.
He's
like,
snapping necks and cashing checks, boy.
And so now that he's on the scene in the show, hopefully the problems that people are having with the villains,
right.
we can just focus on them as more like, okay, now we just need to learn their backstory to see how it all comes out. Because now that we have that intimidating presence, it's almost like they're off the hook, kind of. They don't have to be that presence.
And-
So now they can just be real characters.
wish Vader would just kill them all, honestly.
I'm just so thankful that they brought James Earl Jones back to do the voice of Darth Vader, because if they would have gotten anyone else, especially Hayden Christensen, which I don't care if he's in the suit or not, you don't see him really, I would have been very upset. It would have been hashtag not my Vader.
It's
I
the
would have
Vader
made stickers and everything.
They've got some really good impressionists, though.
Vader. Oh yeah, and Vader is scary now. Like even from Rogue One, scary Vader. and Vader now, scary. Like him walking through that like just empty street, pulling people out of windows, snapping necks of
And cashing
teenagers,
checks.
cashing every check he had.
And to see the horror on Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan's face, it's just selling it all. It's selling it all. It's great.
And the height difference too, like seeing how big Vader is compared to him, and like he always has the high ground now because he's taller than Obi-Wan, so that's great.
In the books,
In my
don't
opinion,
they
the
describe
Jedi
him
are
as
evil.
being like 7 foot tall?
I don't know.
So he was described as a towering figure.
Right.
So #accurate.
And all of it could have been prevented, every single damn bit of it, if Watto would have just taken the Republic credits. If you would have just taken the credits for that part, for the hyperdrive, take the credits, we could have avoided the entirety of Star Wars. Period. If it wasn't for your credits are no good around here.
So the butterfly effect.
Just in case you didn't know, if that didn't happen, none of Star Wars would have happened.
That's some of my favorite little videos online is when people change one thing at the beginning of the movie, like to where it doesn't happen, and then the credits roll because it's like nothing else would have happened.
All I
Greedo would have shot first.
all I have are Republic credits. Oh, that'll be fine.
The end.
Yeah, I'm excited to see because now, like, you can't slow down now. Like at the speed and the height of climax that we got this last episode, you cannot slow down again the way the first two were. I get like, I would say I understand a setup, like a smaller setup, like episode 1. Like you, Tiny, I liked episode 1, and then with episode 2, it was like
Did
a
you
little
just
bit
call me
more.
Tony?
Do what?
I think you just called me Tony.
I don't know. I'll have to listen. I'll have to listen back to that one.
I hope you are, Tony.
I'm a little offended,
Yes,
and I'm a little sad.
I'm sorry, Tammy. And like the second one has a lot of good parts, but as a whole, I thought it was a little filler, like we mentioned.
Yeah.
So if we would have gotten this in the second episode, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe by the end of it, we look back and go, yes, those were necessary parts.
Right. It's not done yet.
It's not over yet. So I'm open to all of my opinions changing.
Oh, yeah,
but
absolutely.
As of right now, I really like what I see, but I do see a lot of parts that could be better.
Yeah.
Which is the case for everything. But I'm enjoying it, and I look forward now every week to see it, which is something
absolutely.
that I think is a success.
I have one more question. What is with all these people burying lightsabers in the desert?
It's what you do.
I'm so
It's
over
what
that
you
shtick.
do.
Yeah, please stop that.
It's what you do.
Burying lightsabers in the desert.
I'm going to go do it now. I've got one. I've got 2.
You got a long way to drive, bucko.
Yeah.
I just called you bucko.
Also, I'm really hoping that we get some like intimate scenes with Vader, like without the mask, like just like him like healing and like going through it. Like
I do not want to see that man's O face.
I do.
yeah, I knew somebody was going to latch onto that.
Well, it would be cool to. It would be cool to bring in that weird comic of that nurse that fell in love with Vader.
Oh yeah,
that would kind of be a time to do it because like she collected some of his like necrotic skin and made this effigy of him.
Yeah, dude, that
and
was
you know,
awesome.
and she goes in there and sees
would
him
too.
in the back to tank and it's like, oh my god, I love you so much. And then he just get out, just murders her.
We do need some Hayden, but it's going to be an odd way to do that.
I've already
because,
seen enough Hayden. I saw his
like,
face.
I know. I want more. I want him to. I want to see him act. I want to see what that's like now.
Yeah, but it has to be private because obviously he wouldn't wear the helmet outside. You know, I
Right,
just want to see some scene of him alone meditating without the helmet and going through troubles in his own head. You know?
I want to see him and Obi-Wan have a Force connection talk.
That would be awesome.
With their selves right there. Because here is Hayden, here is Ewan McGregor. They're having their actual face-to-face conversation as Vader and Obi-Wan, even though on the outside you've got this like decrepit older man and this robot of half-man, and they're talking with their true selves, which are their internalized selves,
They
their
are
mental
both
projections.
decrepit.
Yeah, kind of both decrepit.
That would be
In different
cool.
ways.
That would be really cool to see, like Hayden Christensen, like not Vaderized, like him just be himself.
Well, they
and have
did
that-
kind of in the
that
episode where
conversation.
from afar.
Yeah, in the
And that
when
was
he's got
so
the robe
cool.
on.
Yeah.
They missed a really great opportunity for his vents to get sand in them and for him to say that he hates sand. Burp, 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 burp.
One of those
Clogged with sand. I hate sand.
one of those people in the street, they just run up and kick sand on his shoes, and he just loses his shit.
It's coarse. It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
It'd be one of his stormtroopers come running through, and then he just like straight eviscerates the guy, like rips his limbs off of his body
Just
with the force.
killing stormtroopers to walk on their armor so he doesn't have to touch the sand. He's like, I don't like sand.
We'll visit this again after episode 6 because I want us to do this. Is a nice midway point, and then getting to see our reactions after the whole thing and be able to digest it all. Like that.
I really hope it's good.
And previously in our lives to Obi-Wan Kenobi coming out, everything that we would think about this gap in time would be kind of like what ifs. It would be, I wish. They'd be on a list of things like, I would love to see this.
Plus, there's been stories written in comics, and there is established lore, whether it be Legends or Disney canon.
Right.
Yeah.
Much like my topic. And here, follow me on this, because by the time it gets to the screen in these live-action anime adaptations that I'm going to talk about, these are often third or fourth iterations of these actual arts, from manga to anime to live action. Sometimes there's another one that's put in there, which is video game, because they explore outward stories of the, like the universes, with having video game content and stuff to it like that you might not see on the show or in the manga, just different storylines. There have been a lot of hits on this anime stuff that I feel like they've done a fantastic job of correlating what's happening in the anime to actually making it read well on screen in a live action setting with people. The one I'm going to mention the most on that is going to be Rurouni Kenshin. Now, I've seen quite a few other anime flops. But when I see a good anime movie, it really draws my attention and it brings my hope level up a little bit more to see other ones like it. Because Rurouni Kenshin actually started back in 2012 with the original Rurouni Kenshin movie that came out on Netflix. It is a Japanese subtitled with English. You've got Rurouni Kenshin. Then in 2021, they came out with the prequel and sequel to that to complete the story. Now, Rurouni Kenshin, the beginning, I thought it was going to be just something completely different. I thought it was going to be a reboot, because you have something that's made like 8 years ago and then you have another title come out, something like that. You think like, they've rebooted it, because that's what everybody does now. It doesn't matter how long it's been since the last one, they're going to reboot it. Incorrect. It was a continuation of the story. So it actually depicts the story of Rurouni Kenshin, which is going to be, he was an assassin. He was one of the deadliest assassins in the Shogun army. No, actually, no, he was against the Shogun army. What do you got, Tiny? You had something.
I was just going to ask what kind of cheese he used in his macaroni kitchen.
I hate you. Macaroni kitchen. He has a reverse blade sword, so it'd be a very buttery cheese.
Like Havarti.
Yes. Yeah, maybe Havarti.
Or a Munster.
Maybe not Munster. No, he doesn't like
Munster's
the color.
Extra buttery.
He doesn't like the color of the Munster, though. But in the movies, it's just accurately depicted on what's happening in the anime to what's happening on the television, and you can see the storyline, if you're a fan of that, kind of carrying out. There have been other ones that haven't done as well as that. I've got a little list here and a little rant, because I got to ranting to myself earlier whenever I was sitting around thinking. And I said, I believe where they've gone wrong in the live-action adaptations of a lot of these animes is when they take a very large, overly, arcing storyline, like the Dragon Ball Z movie that came out, Dragon Ball Evolution. That's hot, stinking fecal garbage. I don't even need to emphasize that harder, because everybody knows it. There have been other ones. The Death Note movie that came out, it was not true to anime whatsoever.
Awful.
There have been quite a few.
You keep naming the only anime things I enjoyed.
What, you actually enjoyed Dragon Ball Evolution, the movie?
I've not seen either one of those things.
Death Note, the movie?
I've not seen that one either.
I didn't think that you would have.
And there was one on Netflix that a lot of people didn't like recently, right?
There was, I don't know, there's been quite a few. I mean,
Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah. That one didn't work out too well.
My big bitch about that, Cowboy Bebop is a short-run anime. It should not take that much to make that story cohesive and make it fit onto the screen well. You've got all the technology available to make things believable when you see it. It just depends on how much money you're wanting to pump into the project. You can tell that they're like half-ass jabbing at it. They're like, well, maybe this will work. Let's see if we could kind of get it that way.
It already works, man. It's in anime form. Just take that and make the space cowboy movie, man.
And my favorite space cowboy anime I forgot all about, which is Trigun.
Oh yeah, Trigun was great.
I forgot all about Trigun. I would love to see a Trigun like actual live action movie, because Trigun has the soundtrack that's more metal based mixed in with like, you know, old Western style music. It blends really well. It's awesome, actually.
You might actually really like that, Marcus.
Sounds awesome.
And they take that and they mix in like mysticism combined with like robotics and futurism. And then you've got, you know, mythological stories revolving around like, you know, is he an angel? Is he a demon? What's going on with him? I mean, he's got the ability to destroy planets, but he would never use that power because it's something that he's forced into. It's called his angel arm. Anyway,
it's really cool.
The live action animes, though, they don't really intrigue me to hear about them much anymore. Because you got something coming out, One Piece.
One Piece is making a live action?
One Piece is making a live action.
Really?
And the thing that makes a anime fail to me, just like seeing the Bleach anime, like the anime movie with Bleach, it was very dry. It wasn't that good. Same thing with the Full Metal Alchemist. I didn't enjoy it that much, but Full Metal Alchemist is getting 2 more movies, so apparently somebody liked it. Does anybody besides Dane know anything about what I'm saying at all?
I've seen a little bit of Full Metal Alchemist.
Now,
Brotherhood.
Brotherhood counts, because Brotherhood is basically just like you're cutting the filler episodes out and keeping the story more true to what's happening.
Yeah, I saw about a season of that, if that helps.
It does, actually, because that is getting 2 more movies. They are coming out with one for it's a more popular recent anime called Tokyo Revengers. They're coming out with a movie for that. As I said, 2 more Full Metal Alchemist movies.
Isn't that the sequel to Tokyo Drift?
Yes, it is. That's when they actually are going to get revenge for the main guy getting killed.
Yeah, because of his family.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, got it. And then you've got My Hero Academia is getting a movie.
I mean,
Really?
I've watched most of that one.
Have you really?
I actually enjoyed it.
See? Now, I feel like My Hero Academia can take a real good approach to making a movie, because all you have to have is just that intro story and him getting the powers and everything else like he does. And that's
hair.
But will they shove the entirety of what we've had on screen into one movie and it be an absolute flop? Like, what direction?
Yes.
They can't.
Yes, they will do that.
They've had enough fails to know what works and what doesn't.
Yes, if they're going to make anime movies, they need to make arc-related movies. If you're going to tell a story, tell the story of that one specific arc and then move on. Make future plans. You know the anime is overarching to this entire time. Do not make this to where you're shoving too much in one movie.
And I think because of Rurouni Kenshin, because it's more of just a samurai anime, like it's more of just a samurai anime, and it translated well because samurai movies can be really good, and they don't take a whole lot to be really good. But with all the ones that seem to fail are the ones that are more extravagant and magical based and beast based and things like that, because the movements that are made in anime is like, it's classic. It's what makes anime.
It's stuff that you wouldn't be accustomed to being able to see in real life.
On screen, exactly. And once you see it on screen, it just doesn't look right. So there's a reason it doesn't work.
Yeah, because they're like in like suspended by ropes and stuff.
Yeah,
you know, in the
like,
studio.
or it's just bad CGI or something. Like it's not. It doesn't translate well.
Yeah, and they've got other ones coming out too, like the Mobile Suit Gundam movie they've got coming out.
Yes, that could be really
Gundam.
good. That could be really good.
I've recently seen where Hellsing is getting its own live action movie.
Van?
Yes,
Is he in a van?
Well, not in a van, but it's Hellsing. He's a like the vampire hunter kind of deal, but he's also a vampire in this one. Sword Art.
But is he in a van?
I don't know.
It's not been made yet.
Yeah, they could do whatever they want to. He could have a motorcycle that turns into a van and not vice versa.
Cool.
No.
Yu Yu Hakusho's getting a live action one. That was an anime from my childhood. It's actually not super long for the entirety of it, but it's going to have its own movie come out as well. You're going to have Sword Art Online, another long anime, but I feel
is that another Samuranime?
No, it kind of is. Sword Art Online is one of my It's Just Dogs anime. Like the anime that I wrote about, It's Just Dogs, how they got trapped in a video game world. Sword Art Online was the original one I saw.
I was just wanting to say Samuranime.
Samuranime. I'm sorry.
I sat here for like 10 minutes trying to figure out how to mash those words together.
I thought I smelled something burning.
You did.
Naruto is getting a live action movie as well.
Ninjas.
It's ninjas with magic, and that's what it is. Can they do it? Sure.
These
Ninja-ranime.
These have to be. There's two things have to be happening for this many to be made recently or soon.
Yep.
Is either it's popular somewhere, someone's watching this, and enough people are watching it and enjoying it for them to keep making them, or they're trying to ride this nerd wave of nerd stuff is cool now. Anime is a big part of nerd culture. And a lot of people are getting into it that wouldn't have normally gotten into it before because it's more acceptable to do so. And I think they're trying to maybe capitalize on this whole, how do we translate or how do we get people to transfer from live action to anime? And maybe they do see it and it sucks. And then everybody's like, well, you got to read it. You got to watch it. You got to watch it. And then they go do that. And now they're fans of the anime and they hate the movies. I don't know if it's this transition process or cashing in because it's nerd, the nerd balloon is its
trying
largest.
to create a new cinematic universe. All of a sudden, if you get a hit on your hands, then you can just keep pumping them out.
Well,
right?
I mean, that did happen to me when I tried watching Avatar. I mean, I watched the movie, thought the movie was good.
Yeah.
And then I watched the anime and I'm like, now I see why everyone hates the movie. It's really bad now.
So bad.
I don't know how these people turned blue.
And oh my God,
I'm just kidding. I was actually talking about the one with Ong.
Now I don't know if I these are two other ones that I'm not super familiar with because they're on a list. But it's just okay. Super Sentai. The idea of actually transforming from human into costumed hero, like the Power Rangers. That's what Super Sentai is. There was one that came out called Saint Seiya, Knights of the Zodiac, to where they have different constellations in the Zodiac in which they actually inherit the abilities and powers from and transform into these superheroes like the Power Rangers, except they're armored.
I'd hate to be Libra. You just turn into a scale. You're like, I can weigh things superbly.
Either that or have a more appropriately balanced way to carry in all the groceries at once because you have serving trays that float along with you. Team One Trip!
I'll just keep a giant carabiner in the car.
And One Punch Man.
One Punch Man's getting a
One
live
Punch
action.
Man. Now, One Punch Man live action could be just kooky enough to work as just I don't care.
Yeah.
This is going to be fun. Because if you're going to try to build what the animes have built with the characters, there's story, there's in-depth look in these characters. There's a lot of stuff that's not going to be able to be done in that short amount of time you get in a movie. Because you've got 180 episode, 380 episode, hell, One Piece, what is it, 14,000 episodes?
700,000.
It's so many episodes. But they've got plethoras of my favorite kind of little animes, which are just 12 episode one-shot seasons, to where they go through the entirety of this story and what has happened, and you're done. Those would make excellent movies because they all take little different trips. They all have these own little aspects to them, and a lot of them have, they're really fun. Hell, some of them are really actually sad. So, I mean, I think that anime has its place in being able to tell us good stories, having a mixed concept to what they're going to be. Have a little bit of everything. Have your horror, your comedy, your fantasy. Have all this stuff shoved into one. And I think they accomplish it a lot better than a majority of genres try to. Because in anime, they don't even have to tell you oh, this is space elves going through space with their flower that opens up to transport them through hyperspace and all this stuff. They don't have to tell you that. They can just do it.
Yeah, not as much exposition involved.
They just show you.
You're just there.
Yeah. Now, if you want to, tune back in later on, and I might be able to, give you some more suggestions for some decent anime movies based on what I've just told you's coming out. I'll screen them for you if you don't want to watch them, and then I'll say, hey, you should watch these.
Well, I feel like I'm one of those people that if you make a cool anime movie, that might get me to watch the animation that I'm not that fond of. But, if the story's there, if I know it's there, I know I like this kind of story, then maybe I can suffer through the strange animation.
We need to find some metal fantasy anime for him, which is a large
Trigun
category.
Trigun.
Metalocalypse.
Yeah.
Yeah, see?
Trigun would definitely be one I'd suggest for you. I mean, the main character's name is Vash the Stampede.
There you go.
So that's freaking metal.
Weird.
We all just
That's a
stare at you,
weird
cricket.
name. Well, I didn't see the finger twirl, so. Well, we all know what time it is, don't we, gentlemen?
Yes.
It is
It's
time
6:50.
for... No. It is time for Tiny's Terrible Tabs.
Finally.
Tiny's Terrible Tabs.
The first tab on my list, there's a little bit of a story behind why I looked it up. Now, my girlfriend and I yesterday was watching Big Bang Theory. It's one of her favorite shows. I've actually kind of grown to like it, not necessarily for the stupid humor, but the more intellectual humor that's in there. Because if you really pay attention to what they're saying sometimes, it'll go right over your head. Just like the episode that we were watching, Sheldon was doing all these experiments with bowl cut man's children. And and he's like, I did experiments with them in the bathroom. Not like that. He goes into these experiments he was doing. And he goes, he's like, and I tried Archimedes water displacement. It just went right over their heads. And that got me. I'm like, that is so good. I thought I knew what it was. So I looked it up to verify, and it was what it was. It states, if the body is completely submerged, the volume of fluid displaced is equal to the volume of the body. So basically, he dunked the kids under the water and watched it go over their heads. And for whatever reason, that amused me so much.
Oh, that's a play on words there.
Yes, it was a play on words.
Oh, I got it.
And also, I have to throw this in because for a second, I thought I was going to have to divorce my girlfriend because, I thought about it for half a second. I'm like, no, I love her too much. I asked her, because Will Wheaton was present in one of the following episodes. I said, hey, just, out of curiosity, do you know what he's famous from? And she said, one of those Star movies. And for just a second, I wanted to divorce her, and then I decided I don't really want to do that. But that's okay with me.
That's okay. She can be ignorant. He was a very good member of the original Star Wars.
Yes. So, and Dane, are you ready for this one?
Not at all.
Because this gently caresses one of your fears.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the waxy monkey tree frog.
Waxy
Monkey.
Tree frog.
Yeah.
I am afraid of trees, wax, frogs, and monkeys.
Yep. Well, this tree frog is the biggest tree frog out there. It's roughly the size of my hand or Marcus's face. And it just kind of boggles my mind. During the reproductive cycle, the male frog helps the female frog with her laying of eggs and basically surrounding them with fake eggs to protect them from the elements and predators and things.
That's cool.
Two frogs that are the size of both of my hands suspended on a leaf. How do they do that?
Wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
How though?
I don't know. They lay their eggs on this leaf. I'm like, they're the size of my hands or Marcus's face or two of his faces.
What?
How?
Has life beat you down so much that you no longer believe in the spirit of nature?
Apparently.
Do you no longer experience the magic of the forest? Did you not watch Ferngully enough as a kid?
I watched it maybe twice.
May the force be with you.
Frog Force.
I saw one that like my moment. Do you want to know the moment I was afraid of frogs? I know it. I know the moment.
Yes,
when
please.
I saw one, the eggs came out of the frog's back, and it, like, I don't like the way I feel now talking about it. Like, I don't like the way my body feels right now, like saying those words.
I don't like the way your body feels either.
It was, let go of me. Thank you.
Well, they make baby blobs.
Well, it was just I don't want to talk about it anymore because it's the scariest thing I've ever seen. Besides the real life looking Buzz Lightyear that doesn't look real life on a video at Disney World or Disneyland. That also was a fear that happened like in that moment when I realized I was afraid of like realistic moving animatronics. But it's just don't watch what I've told you about, please. Yeah. Don't join me in this fear. I'd rather be the only one in the world afraid of it.
So I was re-listening to the wonderful book Battlefield Earth a week or so ago.
Why would you do this to yourself?
Because I like the book. It's terrible, but I love it. And to further illuminate the point that L. Ron Hubbard was an idiot, he uses the word ghillie a lot. And I was like, I don't really know what a ghillie is. He's referring to Scotsman. So I looked it up, and a ghillie in Scotland is a man or boy who attends someone on a hunting or fishing expedition. Basically, it's your guide. He's going to show you, where the deer are, where's a good place to fish, that sort of thing. And he's using that word for something more like a knight's squire. And that annoyed me so much. I'm like, just do 5 minutes of research. I know you didn't have the internet, but you had a library.
A library is just a physical internet.
Yeah, go there. Read a freaking book, man.
The library is the internet that you can smell.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the librarian is the search bar.
Yes.
Dewey Decimal System.
I mean, you're not wrong.
They know a lot of stuff. They got to get degrees for that.
It gets really screwed up when they get a 404 based on what you're trying to search at the library.
They just sit there and go,
it's like I've clicked her so many times, and it's still not working for me.
Double click your hand. What is this?
Do I have to middle of your forehead?
You double ring the bell.
Oh, they hate that.
Oh, they
hate
do not
that
want
so
that.
much.
No.
I also found the rules for dueling.
Whoa.
Like dueling with machetes, dueling with pistols?
Just like old school dueling.
Swords.
Yep. Swords, pistoles,
any
whatever.
1v1 agreed upon tussle.
Yes.
Okay.
A committee of Irishmen drew up the dueling code in 1777, and the code was called Code Duello, which I probably did not pronounce that at all
Sure.
correctly,
Sounds right.
but it is what it is. The highlight of some of it was a duel can be called off once it is given, and the whole slap in the face with a glove thing, that was actually a thing.
Wait, when do you...
Like in the movies, it's like, I challenge you a duel, slaps dude in the face.
Oh, that's kind of
that
like
was actually one way to declare a duel. Surprisingly enough, I just thought that was a stupid movie thing. But you can call off the duel by apologizing, but even that has to be done very specifically. The first offense requires the first apology, though the retort may have been more offensive than the insult. Basically, person A tells person B he is impertinent. Person B retorts that he lies. Yet A must make the first apology because he gave the first offense, and then B can apologize and state why he said what he said about what A said.
It's nice to know that it's on paper, that you can just say, hey, man, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah,
we don't have to shoot each other with guns.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm out of wax. I can't make a seal. I'm going to get killed.
It's like, I'm sorry, I did a dumb. And then B goes, you did a dumb, and I forgive you. But also, I'm sorry for doing a mean because you did a dumb. And it even gave rules for seconds. Seconds as in, your second, like I'm going to be your second. The role of the second is to take place of the dueler. If something happens to him, he jumps in and takes over.
Who would be your second? Does anybody here volunteer to be Tiny second?
I would be the apologizer. Can the second? Can I apologize? Can I say sorry?
Can the second pre-write an apology for you, just in case you change your mind?
Possibly, because the second does a lot. Not only do they do that, they oversee, like if you're using pistols, they oversee that they're both loaded exactly the same. Both seconds are present. They make sure everything is fair and equal for the two individuals dueling. Very interesting. So if you want to check that out, you should. There's a lot of cool stuff in there.
I figured there were rules, but I didn't realize
there's
that
a lot of
even
them,
the official let's do this thing by slapping with the glove or the apology. I did not know about that.
Yeah, well, I wonder, if it's one of those things that it was just a thing, and then they decided to write it down. You know what I mean?
That's kind of what happened. These group of Irish dudes people just dueling willy nilly, man. Let's get some rules and make it more gentlemanly.
It's probably because everybody was dueling by house rules back then, and people were dying when they shouldn't have been.
Kind of like Monopoly and Uno.
Yes.
Our house rules are that you have to turn around and face the other way, and I get to pull my gun.
No, my house rules, you have a buckle on your shoe, I get to shoot you twice first. Pow! I win. House rules, you guys got me.
Yeah, so it just made things more fair and equal to everyone else. And there always has to be, in every Tiny's Terrible Tabs, we all know that there is something genital related.
Yes.
And this, we all know who Burt Ward is, correct?
Robin.
He played Robin in the old Adam West Batman.
Yes.
Correct.
And apparently, according to him, and only him, from what I've seen through my extensive research, apparently he had a hefty
Hongus?
hog. Yeah. So, in order to play the Boy Wonder,
heavy beak.
he could not have such a large beak on display for sensitive people. There was some Catholic organization that apparently wrote the show and had a real issue with it. So ABC,
Robin's package is way too prominent on your show.
He's going to have to be Batman if we leave this thing in there.
Oh my God, is that Robin or Toucan?
If y'all don't contain that thing, I'll come down there and do it myself.
you put a leash on that donkey, I swear to God.
What we have here is the beak that crushes the wild shells of the snails to provide sustenance for the bird.
Well, and like I said, allegedly, according to Burt Ward, ABC's solution to his massive beak was chemical castration. They set him up with a doctor who gave him medication that would shrink his wing dang doodle and sterilize him so he could more accurately portray the Boy Wonder and not be so offensive to people's sensibilities.
No way.
Yes.
This is straight from the bird's mouth?
That is from Burt Ward's mouth. It is in his memoirs.
That's insane,
Whoa.
and I'm glad because that makes my brain just dance all sorts of dances that Hollywood can do whatever they want to you as long as you're under contract. A little bit.
Is that what he's saying? Is he saying that it was like awful, or was he saying I was just dumb enough to do it back then?
He took the medication for 3 days, and then he goes, you know what? This is probably not good because eventually I'm not going to be Robin, because apparently they were also strapping him down and padding his region, and apparently he was still so hefty that he was still showing, so hence the drugs.
So you got to take drugs because the old duck and tuck doesn't work for him?
Exactly.
Lord have mercy. Good job, Burt.
And go figure, he goes, I don't think this is good for the rest of my life, so I'm just not going to do it. And then they decided just to shoot the show from a slightly different angle, so his package was not so
He's like,
accentuated.
you could have done this the whole time?
Yeah. But you went to drugs.
They're robbing him of his manhood.
That is a great title.
That is almost a pun.
Robin Burt Ward of his manhood.
We hope we haven't robbed you of any manhood or womanhood or personhood here on Nerd It Through the Grapevine. Thank you for listening to this episode on Spotify and iTunes and CastBox and Good Pods and now YouTube. I put them all on YouTube.
Yay!
They're all on YouTube.
We made
Which
it.
is why my feed is full of us.
You're welcome. Yeah, they're on there now. They're going to automatically just be posted to YouTube every week. So if you like to be on your computer and be one of the people that listen to podcasts on YouTube, go for it. And Good Pods, go there. Listen to us there. Give us a 5-star rating anywhere that you can. And a description on why you love us or a description on why you hate us going along with the 5 stars, of course. Also, there's a link to Teespring where you can wear us on your body if you want to walk around and confuse people why there's a giant open mouth trying to consume a purple microphone.
And if you'd like to discuss what your favorite live-action anime is, even if it is Sex and the City, get on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter on @NerdGrapevine. And if you wanted to get on Patreon and donate a little bit to the cause, receive a shiny holographic Nerded Through the Grapevine sticker, our admiration for eternity, and content that you can only access on Patreon.
Official content.
Official content. It is called Grape Flavored Gaming. And it's pretty fun. We've had a good time making it. And you can do that by getting on Patreon and looking up @Nerd Grapevine, donating a little bit to the cause, and make sure that you tell your friends that it is @Nerd Grapevine on Patreon and not Best Friends period Tiny Ink period. That's changed. So it might cause them to, get a little aggravated and cause them a little bit of...
All I can think about is getting some macaroni and cheese now because of your macaroni and kitchen segment. I mean,
Kenshin's Macaroni Kitchen.
I mean, like shells and cheese, boy. Maybe throw some extra cheese in there, like maybe some Gouda. And definitely some Munster because it adds a little bit of
buffalo chicken mac.
And a whole bunch of ketchup because there's so much blood in the anime and in the show.
I've now written you off as a person. But also find us on Discord. We have all kinds of things on there. You can talk to us. You can send and receive memes. How often can one do that?
Never.
I know. It's crazy. We're going to stream Warriors of Virtue in July. I'm just going to go ahead and commit to July.
Just like you committed to June?
Yeah, well, I got to get my girlfriend's work schedule so I can work it around hers because she will not watch that movie with me. I can guarantee you. And I don't want to cause any discord between the two of us.
That was late.
But there's a link in the description. Hit us up. We're on there live, uncut, uncensored, and irrevocably circumcised.
And now we're on YouTube.
Yay!
Also, he had
to... That's twice you've swung late.
He had to have been just making that up to try to create this legend around him.
No. See, there's her picture.
I'm talking about Robin.
What if he did? I mean, and also Burt Ward's a little bit older, so his brain he might have made it up.
Robin's swinging the Batman.
When life gives you chemically castrating grapes, Austin.
When life gives me chemically castrated grapes, I'm going to shrivel. Oh no! Everything's getting small. Are these raisins now?
Honey,
hold on,
honey,
I'm
He shrunk him again.
Call the president.